Guys, is this thing on?
Oh, shut up. Whatever.
Presenting the Dead I Overshare podcast.
Just say it.
What is up, besties? It is your host, Zoe, and I'm back with another motherfucking episode today on the Did I Overshare podcast. And I hope you guys are all doing well. I always say this at the beginning. If you end up liking this podcast, please leave a rating if you feel so inclined and a review. And if you are new, hello. Also, I would like to say Ramadan starts this weekend. So after that, we know how it went last year. No cussing. Zoe will not be cussing. For all my listeners who do celebrate Ramadan, you will still be able to listen. And I hope it goes great this year. And I hope it isn't as hard. Like, I'm still educating myself on it, but I do hope it is good this year. But I just wanted to say that as well. But today's episode is daddy issues. Hate this topic, but we love it and we hate it. It's a cycle. And yes, me myself, I do have daddy issues in multiple different ways, though I have denied it. I do, and have made a joke out of it. I very much do. And the reason I am making this episode is because I was having a whole little rant with my ancestors the other day, a whole little ritual with Miss Jordan and then my ancestors. And they were like, okay, we'll speak about it. You feel some type of way, speak about it. And I was like, T, maybe I should. Like, I have a whole platform to speak about it. Let me get up and get the fuck on my Zoom, right? Right. So there's a couple big hitters I'm going to be hitting today, like what daddy issues can look like, how it can be portrayed, how it affects us as children, as adults, and how we can catch it, how we can heal it, and the whole shebang, right? And so I firstly want to start by saying you can have daddy issues even if your father figure is present in your life. Know that, because I feel like a lot of times, especially with social media and then like just normal people's opinions, it tends to seem like, oh, you don't have daddy issues because you have your dad, which is not true. It's not true, because like I have mommy issues, but my mom was in my life my whole life. I think I just have family issues. I think I have life issues, like, at this point. But definitely, I just wanted to say that first, because even if your father is still in your life, you can still have daddy issues. But what can daddy issues look like, and how can they develop? So some first, like, key hitters I would like to explain is like liking older men. These are like often signs. These aren't just, oh my gosh, well, this is why you have this. No, you can just, have this trait or something like that because anything, right? But a lot of the times, most of these do stimulate from daddy issues, if you know what I'm saying. So like I said, liking older men, liking toxic men, not liking men at all, wanting and seeking validation and comfort from men all the time, always staying with men because you have attachment issues, over sexualizing yourself, which often happens a lot. You tend to love aggressive touch. You're always forgiving, even in moments when you shouldn't be. You're afraid of abandonment, and you tend to be searching for the love you wanted from your father and other men, which is usually extremely toxic for us, right? Also, I've seen this a lot in high school. A lot of girls would like cling to their male teacher. Like, a lot of their male teachers, they would cling to them because it was like, it's a fucked up thing, but it's a thing in our head where it's just like, oh, you're proud of me, here we go. Like, I've seen it so much, and it's just a crazy thing to see in real life. But like, that could be it as well, just for that male validation that we feel like maybe surface level we feel like we're not looking for, but subconsciously we are looking for. But it also includes having fathers who are emotionally absent and who just kind of give you money and materialistic things. But having a dad and him not being there, like, physically, mentally, physically, I said physically, and like just being present at all, really hurts a lot as well. And it hurts a lot of people. It's not a competition about who hurts more. And I feel like a lot of people tend to make it, which is so odd to me. But with stating all of that, I would like to explain why I wanted to make this episode today. What triggered me to make this episode, and let me explain my situation on it. So I call him the donor. In my opinion, I call him the donor. My father, the one who helped make me, has never been in my life. I think I've seen him 2 times. And those 2 times were always so fucking odd because it was always like so undercover and I was not even supposed to be seeing him and I was so young and he always acted like he knew me my whole fucking life and oh my gosh, y'all, this is my baby. Like, get the fuck out of my face. Real shit. Bro, like, get the fuck out of my face. You might only be good at paying child support and that was still 16 years late. Like, fuck. But it's just for me, I've always had, and I'm gonna say this in like the utmost respect for my mother. My mom has been a person who I think she has daddy issues herself, to be honest, but she's always clung to men. Like there's always been multiple men in my life. Not like saying like, crazy things, but like there's always been men present in my life, especially long term. So it's like I had multiple different people whether I could look up to. But also the dude I consider, like the man I consider my father now, he has been there my entire life, right? Him and my mom were married at a point, but he has been there for me my entire life ever since I was a baby, right? And his name is Ed. And I love him to death. Do I think, I don't know how I'm going to word this. Him being my father, he's an amazing person. He has done everything for me. I love him with my whole heart. But he is a person, he's very emotionally unattached, right? And I'm very emotionally attached. So that was a kind of weird dynamic growing up. It was very much like my dad spoiled me in every way he could. And that's who I'm referring to when I say my dad. I'm like referring to him, not my biological father, but him. He has spoiled me my whole life with those materialistic things and like money and stuff like that. But never can I say he is an emotionally involved guy. But that's him in life in general. Now, when speaking about the donor, I don't know anything about this man, right? And I know some people on my father's side, and I used to hang out with my sister. She's way older than me, growing up a lot. I also found out like halfway through my life that I had a younger sister I didn't even know about. To be honest, I still don't know her name. I'm going to be honest. But it was the dynamic that I kept seeing as I get older that just started to piss me off. I made a TikTok about this. Everything that I hold for him is strictly, I think, just anger, but I'm not going to deny it, a little part of me has envy for the people in his life. Because they would always, like, when talking to them or, like, when reaching out to new members of the family, they would always describe him, oh, we love him. We call him Mr. Fresh or Mr. Fly. Like, he is always in some designer. Like, he's cool as fuck, always working on the cars, yada, yada, yada. He's at every event. We love him. He's the family dude. Like, all this extra shit. And I'm just like, that fuck nigga? Him? I had to step back and I'm like, what? And part of me just got so pissed off at that because I'm just like, all right, so Yang Hu would reach out and wants to comment under my Facebook post every fucking blue moon and say, oh, hey, text me. And then the one time I actually had to sit there for a couple days because he said he had reached out. He said, oh, you should see me because, like, he did live in Toledo, but now, like, he lived in Chicago and was moving back and forth. It was fucking weird. But one day he really did text me and he was like, oh, let's hang out or can I see you or some shit. And I thought about it for a couple days. And this is when me and my mom were speaking terms. I'm like, hey, should I think about this? Like, is this something I should entertain? Like, I was 16. I could make my own decisions, right? And so I entertained it. And I finally texted back and I'm like, hey, yeah, I think we can do this. And the bum left me on fucking red. And I feel like that really was like the point where I was like, all right, bro, I should have knew this. I should have knew. Like, I should have knew. You weren't in my whole life and then you want to pop back up like randomly on some weird shit and just be like, hey, I actually say hey back and you want to ignore me? All right, cool, I got it. Type shit. Like, do what the fuck you do. Because now I'm pissed off and that was weird. But I had like so much anger. Like, I remember one day I was talking to my sister, my older sister, who I don't see as often, but I know her from my dad's side. And we were at the park, and she was just kind of explaining to me because she grew up with him in her life for most of it. Like, their parents were together, and it was something that was there. And I'm just like, it was kind of so. I'm not gonna say she was diminishing my feelings per se, but she was just like, well, no, I just need you to understand that he's actually a really good person. You know, everybody has their faults and their issues, but he's a really good dad. Like this, that, the other. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, A good dad for who? 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 And a little part of me was jealous that she got that, though never have I ever been like, oh, I want him specifically. Like, I choose him to be my dad. I want him in my life. Never have I ever been like that. I was grateful for the dad I had, and he was all I needed, simply. But it was more of so that envy and that anger that just came out, because I'm just like, how the fuck are you gonna sit here and you're just this praised, glorified man for the whole fucking family, yet you're a piece of shit to me? You might have had issues with my mom before I was born. Why the fuck? What does that have to do with me? You, I just feel like as a parent, you can't pick and choose, and that's something I'm still learning to get over, which I think it affects me very much when trying to reach out to that side of the family, because it's just like everybody's just so surprised and tries to make it seem like I'm crazy that he wasn't in my life. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I didn't really know him that much, yada yada yada, and they're like, oh, was that your fault? And I'm just like, what the fuck? What the fuck is tea? Why? And it's just so confusing, and I really hope that made sense, like my view of it and how I take it, because it's just really confusing, and especially it's really confusing as a little girl growing up and like seeing other people have these experiences and have this, and it's just odd. It's just odd, like in every situation I'm with, because the dude I like claim my dad, he is white. He is a white man. So when people would look at me, they're like, so if 2 + 2 is 4 and 5, what? It is one of them, and I felt like I had to explain myself in every single fucking situation. Oh, well, this is that, this is that, this is my actual dad. And it's so, being like 8 years old and have to explain that to a bunch of people, you're just like, all right, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? And so me and my siblings, we all have different dads. We all have the same mom, but we all have different dads, correct? So it was always like I had to explain that part too, like how weird that fucking was for other people to grasp. And it was just a roller coaster. But being a little girl and not understanding why this man never wanted to be in my life, I think it really did take a toll on me more than I like to admit it does. Because like I was explaining in my TikTok, I don't think I have the standard, like daddy issues most women would have, like, looking for that validation in other men, because I have been in a relationship with Michi for so long. So I think that part doesn't affect me as much, but I catch myself like how I interact with Michi sometimes and like what I expect him to do for me and how to love me and stuff like that. It's very much, okay, girl, you got daddy issues. You need to relax. And I feel like most of us, we all tend to joke about it. Like, I know I joke about it a lot. Not so much anymore, but like in high school and shit, like, you're joking about it. That shit is key. But like, that shit was coming from her. Like, that was purely pain, because it's just, what? I never understood, like, as a parent, how you can pick and choose what kids you want to parent, or pick and choose whose life you want to be in. Because I'm like, how are you so attentive to like the family reunions and showing up to everybody's graduation? Like, when I tell you this fuck ass man showed up to like my cousin's graduation all the way goddamn in Georgia, and like events like that, and I'm just like, you funky. Like, I was ready to run my fade, because what the fuck? Dead ass, what the fuck? It's like shit like that I just cannot wrap my head around, and I'm grateful for what I have. But I can't, there's always going to be that part of me where I'm just like, what the fuck did I ever do to you? I was just a little girl, literally. But a little girl who was like, and this is for me personally, I think the part that played the most for me with that age, like the over sexualization, if that's a word. I was overly sexualized my entire life, and honestly, growing up, I thought it was okay. Like, and like growing up and then being assaulted like multiple times at such a fucking young age, it that really fucked with me as well. But then being in like middle school and growing up like smack ass Tuesdays and shit like that, these boys were fucking ruthless. Fucking ruthless, bitch. I've been overly sexualized my whole fucking life. So now to the point where I'm older, I hate even walking through a room. Like, I hate when I can feel somebody staring at my ass, or when I'm walking to the gas station. Like, it makes me just hate men as a species. Like, that hate that I once had for my father, I feel like, which, granted, no offense, men aren't my favorite people anyways. But that hate I had for my father, it just like morphed. Like it just grew kind of for everybody, because now I just view, like, especially like men who walk out of their like child's lives, like my best friend, like her, I think her baby daddy's a piece of shit, like, and shit like that. It's just, it reflects on every other relationship in my life. And I'm also so hostile towards men. Me and Michi, cool. But like, for example, like any other man that is not him, I am so quick who the fuck are you talking to? Like, I'm so quick to step into that masculine part of me, because I'm just like, fuck, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, my roommate Gyro, which is Michi's cousin, I will go toe to toe with that man. Let me feel any sort of like disrespect, I will go toe to toe with him. Man is like 6'4", 3 something. I don't give a fuck. Because I have so much anger that I think stemmed from this short ass fucking nigga. Like, maybe I should run my fade. I think he's ducking my fade, guys. Like, I really do think so, because he won't show up. And then he still, like, I had to block him, because why are you still commenting under my Facebook accounts to this fucking day? To this fucking day. Do you know me? No. Not even a little bit. But also, I'm going to be real transparent. Like I said, my father, like the one who I consider my dad, he is in my life. He is. Do I wish I had more out of that relationship? 100 times yes. 100 times yes. Because it goes that way for, honestly, both of my parents. And I think me and my mom have such a rocky, like, relationship. Well, non-existent kind of right now. But, and it hurts because I'm not like that with my dad right now. We do still talk every day, but it's like, I don't think he could name my favorite color. Nobody knows about me. Nobody knows what I'm interested in. Not even my parents. Not the people I'm closest to. And that's why I say that emotional aspect is not there. Which, that is a point of, like, daddy issues within itself. Like, you know nothing about me. You couldn't tell me my interests. You couldn't even tell me what my favorite food was. Like, honestly, sometimes you probably forget my birthday. And that shit hurts. That shit hurts, especially as a girl. And it makes me scared, not scared because I know who Michi is, but like when I do plan on having my own kids and having my own daughter, it's like I talk to Michi about that all the time. I'm like, okay, how can we ensure you are what you are? But Michi being Michi, he's going to be the perfect dad anyway. But it's like I always just try to instill that into him, like he doesn't already fucking know it. But a lot of men don't fucking know it. And, oh, hello? Oh, hello? Sorry, I don't know what the fuck that was. But also, I just wanted to that was my situation, and I think that's how I view daddy issues, though I have seen it in multiple different perspectives. I have had multiple different friends have it. But I've also had friends who did grow up with their fathers in their lives and, like, had a good relationship with them. And I would get so upset when I feel like they would take advantage of it. And I'm like, you are so fucking lucky. So fucking lucky. And you're taking advantage of it. But I feel like that's not fair to them either, because everybody has their relationships with their parents. So that's something I also had to get out of. But for you guys, like, explaining how you can see if you have daddy issues in multiple ways, like, there is communication issues. There's real, like, angry issues. Like, having a father who's just an angry man, which I've also witnessed multiple times fucking over. Like, I feel like everybody in my fucking family has an angry, overbearing father. That's hard to deal with, because you start looking for men like that, or you take it upon yourself to carry that anger and carry that weight. Having a dad who was in and out of your life, or who beat your mother, or who was into alcohol, or who was into drugs, that shit, it takes such a heavy toll on you, and it just really warps your whole view on the world. There's just so many instances that growing up and how they can affect you. I'm gonna make an episode on mommy issues as well. But I think being a girl, like, I know it's different for a man and having daddy issues. That's 100%, but that's something I'm not gonna speak out upon, because I'm not a man. So, like, and 94% of my listeners are women. But if there are men out there that listen to my podcast and would like to know, I could have Michi on an episode. Just say the word. I got you. But I know for women especially, it's hard growing up in even as an adult, I'm not gonna lie, as an adult, going out and like seeing, because I work at Ulta, so like seeing dads come in with their daughters, and they're just, oh my god, like doing the cutest shit, or just like that basic, like just normal basic shit that should not be glorified. But in my head, I'm just like, oh my god, I wish I had that. Oh my gosh, like, and I get so jealous, so jealous. Or it's like when your dad has like a kid who's younger than you, like 10 years later, and he decides to show up for her. You're like, what the fuck? And it's so, I feel like it's so unfair to us, because it's like we're just kids. What the fuck did I do to deserve that? We're just kids. But I mean, we could say that about everything. So now taking on the turn where it's okay, well, hold on, let me go back on this. I feel like another way I see my daddy issues morph, which this is also me as a person. The books I read, I feel like a lot of the times I love an age gap. I don't know if that says anything. Maybe that's just like me liking the trope, but a lot of people say that relates to daddy issues. Like an age gap. I love dark romance. I love all that shit, but an age gap will really, I love an age gap. And like just shit like that. And maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Somebody on TikTok said that like might have something to do with it, so I just threw that in there. But now I want to touch on how we can overcome these in a way, or try to better ourselves from it, if that makes sense. So I definitely think therapy. But like I said, therapy doesn't work for everybody. I say that all the time in every episode. But since it doesn't work in everybody, I think just try to I think we just need to learn how to give ourselves the love we look for, instead of looking for it in boyfriends or like other men or just in women and shit like that. I think we just need to give ourselves the love we are craving and the love we are looking for. Like, because what does a dad's love really entail? You want that softness, you want that gentleness, you want to be spoiled, you want to be cherished and loved, and just like a little princess. Treat yourself like that. I feel like that's the best thing I can say to help you try to heal this father wound inside you. Heal that, but make sure this is a big thing for me. When you're fucking, strap up if you wouldn't have fucking kids with that man. Because you do not need to be giving your daughter these same issues that you never healed from. God, I hate when we repeat the cycles. I hate when we do this, and we know we don't want that for our kid. Our kid lives, like, they matter so much more than we think. Why am I saying ours like I fucking have some? They matter so much more than we think. I personally, like, for Michi, I do feel comfortable with that. Now, if I was a different, like, with a random ass, like, let's say, like, a one I say, but, like, shit happens. I know that, bitch. I know. Shit like that happens. But please, I think, especially in this day and age, just be careful. Just be careful. Be very intentional about stuff like that. You make a better life for your daughter. Give her the one you wanted. Give her a father who can do that for her. But be able to do that for her. Don't be a hurt woman who is still chasing the love of her father and never found it herself. Because I had to teach myself that as well. I need to give myself that love and that patience and that care that I wanted from that man so bad. I need to give it to myself, and you need to know that it's not your fault. You did nothing wrong. Even if your father left your life when you were 17, 13, or 2, or just was never there at all, it was not your fault. It is not your fault that man had no fucking balls and left like a little bitch. Not your fault. Not your fault at all. But if your dad still is in your life, and let's say he is present, but he's not present at the same time, and it's like off and on, let's say it's very toxic, also, you need to realize, at what point are you going to stop giving that man the benefit of the doubt? At what point are you going to realize, okay, that is a grown-ass man. I'm not allowing myself to be treated like this. Get your head out of your fucking ass. Stop drinking liquor and get some fucking help. And stop taking it out on me. Or like situations like that. Because once it gets too much, it becomes too much. Not everybody deserves the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes, yes. They don't need it for that long. So stop giving it. Give yourself that grace as well. If you're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, you better be giving it to your fucking self. But I think that was all I really had to say for this episode. That was my take on daddy issues. I know I probably missed a couple things, but that is really my main points I wanted to hit, like the big hitters. And yeah, so follow Did I Overshare on at no, where the fuck was I going with that? Follow Did I Overshare podcast on Instagram and TikTok, and please be active. I am active as well, so if you are ever listening to some of my episodes, go ahead and post it, bitch. I interact. I also interact when you guys DM me. I love that. And yeah, I love you guys so much, and I really hope you had some takeaways from this episode today. But bye.